Hello. Apparently I'm live. We normally have a countdown, but I guess we're not doing that. John right now will be swearing at himself, I imagine. John, come on and swear at yourself. Well, it took you long enough to make that error, John. One week.
I can take us off and put the countdown on if you want.
That would definitely be more awkward now than just running with it, I think. So good stuff. Good stuff.
I'll leave my badge at the front desk.
Yeah, and your Symbaroum, so not a gun, a sword. I guess any kind of standard regular weapon that does 1d6 damage. Hello and welcome to Telling Tales. We make atmospheric, slightly spooky tabletop role-playing streams and put them on the internet. John is going to shuffle off now, and I'm going to not permanently, but in shame. And I am going to give you just the briefest of rundowns of what happened last week in our first thing. And then we'll bring on the players and we'll do our stuff. So last week was our prologue, our very first episode. In it was the characters that we were playing weren't our regular characters. They were prologue-based characters. It was set 8 years before this. And basically, they all went into a ruin in Davakar, the dark forest of Symbaroum. And, bad things happened. Very, very, very bad things happened to them. And we probably shan't be seeing them again, ? Although maybe, who knows? In the meantime, we've got new characters, our main characters to talk about. So I'll bring on the players one by one. We'll talk to them a little bit. They'll give us the very tiniest introduction to their characters, and then we'll crack on. So how about we start with Chris? Bring on Chris. Roll on the Chris. Hey, there we go. How are you? How are you tonight, Chris?
I'm doing fine. Reclined, ready to role play.
With your swish screen setup. Do you want to show them your fancy screen setup?
Yeah, we've gone overboard on the background material here. I got maps, I got character sheets, I got the core rulebook, I got the combat guide.
Lovely stuff. So your character, your main character for the story going onwards, shares a little bit in common with your prologue character Kvarek. A little bit.
That's
kind
true.
of a warrior. Why don't you give us the very light guy to Steo?
Yeah, Steo fought in the Great War as a heavy infantryman and lost the will to live, basically, and has kind of been on autopilot ever since, doing some work in his new home in the south as a sellsword and then eventually settling as a town guard in Thistlehold. He's about 50 years old and he really does look like a corpse that just hasn't realized it's dead yet.
And having seen I think yours is actually finished, but they won't be around till next week. John's kind of sketches of the characters, like Kvarek and yourself, Steo possesses a mighty beard.
Okay.
So yeah, there we go. Why don't we bring on Elle? Let's get Elle in. Hello, Elle. Hello, Elle. LOL.
LOL.
No, yes. Okay. Hi. How are you tonight, Elle?
Sleepy. Always sleepy.
Always with the sleeps.
Always with the sleeps.
So your main character going forward is Ephenea. Why don't you give us a bit of a nice description of Ephenea, or a nasty one? It's up to you.
Or a nasty one. So Ephenea, physically, just imagine the main character from Horizon Zero Dawn crossed with Ygritte, but hencher. She is the young age of around about 20. Lived with her family, which includes her mum, dad, and 2 younger siblings, or rather, it did until mum died, giving birth to the youngest sibling. She lives on a smithy. Her dad's a blacksmith. And she helps out there, but he's recently injured himself and lost an arm. So she is now the matriarch and sole provider for the family, and thus has joined a fortune hunters guild in order to make coin to send back to the farm.
Cool. We'll admit was looking for barbarian warrior, but it's good to have that information. Okay, roll on Mike, please. Hello,
Hey,
Mike.
Hey, Matt.
How are you and your very, very... Does that room have a lot of echo, Mike?
I don't think so. Does it? Please tell me if it
it
does.
just looks very big and cavernous and empty.
Oh, it's very much not that. It's
Wait.
very much a box room. That's just a trick of the perspective of my webcam. Yeah.
Fascinating. So
yeah.
tell us about Anton, your character.
Yeah, okay. So Anton is a human Ambrian. He's a priest. Do you want me to go into a physical description of it now, or do you want me to save that?
No. Let's save the physical description for when we're rolling.
Yeah. So yeah, he's a bloke.
He's a priest, and he's
he is a
looking to
priest.
convert the heretics, as far as I'm aware.
Very much so.
That's his thing, right? Yeah.
Yes.
I'm sure you'll get on well with. Well, we've got at least 2 heretics in the party, so that'll go down wonderfully, I'm sure.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, let's have a final player. Let's have Sam. Hello, Sam. You're on mute.
Hello.
Hello. How are you tonight, Sam?
Pretty good, other than randomly muting myself for reasons I can't remember.
Well, you get your kicks however you like, mate. I'm not here to judge.
Probably I'll blame my dog. He was probably barking at some point. But
I thought you meant that the dog muted your mic, like
that could also
just
be
a little paw coming over the desk.
I did briefly leave my desk. He might have snuck up and muted me. He's mischievous like that.
He is, and devilishly intelligent.
Yeah.
So tell us about Askarai.
Askarai is a changeling. He was left with the barbarian Gadinja tribe, and he basically lived a normal life early on. Eventually, he became obviously a changeling and got kicked out of his home, left in the forest for pretty much dead. He somehow survived and has since kind of made his living kind of as a guide, kind of living off the forest, and taking contracts with people who want to get around and don't want to die, hopefully. Yeah.
That's great stuff. So yeah, these are our characters. May they live long and uncomplicated and definitely not horribly violent lives. Fantastic. So with that being that, why don't we start off? And for this first scene, I would like Elle and Sam shuffled off into the Netherworld, please. Fantastic. So we are opening on the road leading up to Thistlehold, that great wood-built town full of treasure hunters, explorers, exploiters, and other ne'er-do-wells on the border of bright Davakar. We are 12 years later now. The town has been built fully. The most remarkable landmark of it, the beacon, a large, slender wooden tower just by the north gate of the town that always has a flame erupting on the top of it in an attempt to keep the evils of Davakar at bay. But we're not on the north side where the beacon is. We're on the south side. And a party of 2 Theurges of Prios are making their way towards the south gate. Thank you, John. Excellently timed. One of these Theurges is Anton, who is traveling north under orders from the Curia to help the Church of Prios in Thistlehold maintain its grip on the hearts and minds of the people, and also do something about that rogue preacher who's stirring up the peasantry with talk of things like equality and, Prios loving everyone, no matter what they do. He's accompanied by his not immediate superior, but certainly a priest of Prios who has risen a bit further in the estimations of the church than Anton has so far. The fairly well-liked theurge, Keller, who eagle-eared and eyed people may remember from the previous session. You are walking. It's been a very long journey up from Indaros to here, and now as you approach the grand wooden walls of Thistlehold, your eyes fall upon the weary, bearded guard stood at the south gates, just kind of watching you approach with a vague sense of boredom. Keller kind of looks over at you and indicates with his head that perhaps you should speak to the guard. You find that Keller ends up deciding that you should do most things on this trip.
Okay. I'll take a weary sigh and walk up to the guard and greet him. Good day.
Good day. Price of passage, please.
How much?
Checking.
Chris is probably looking up the value in the book there.
I am. I believe it is 2 shillings. 2 shillings a person.
2 shillings even for 2 weary travellers, 2 men of the faith.
I have been here for 14 hours and I am done bargaining. It's 2 shillings if you want in the walls tonight. Otherwise, plenty of tents down the road.
Mm-hmm. I'll reach into my robes and pay the man for myself and Keller entry into Thistlehold. Here you go.
I bequeath unto you I think I hand them copper rings for
Yeah,
day
I think they're
passes.
copper rings. Yeah.
So you get 2 small copper rings that look like they've had a number of fingers through them over the years.
Right. Well, I'll nod my head in appreciation, pass a ring to Keller, and slip one of those rings onto my finger.
Excellent.
May the bright God go with you, I say in the most monotone. I'm contractually obliged to say this tone I can manage.
I'll shrug a weary sigh and nod to Keller that we've got passage and head on through.
Okay. You it's kind of late afternoon, by the way, if you want to place it. We're also in early autumn, so the evening's kind of coming in, but there's still quite a lot of light in the sky. You head off on your way to the church to presumably gain some accommodation. Steo, your shift has come to an end. It's a shift you are not really fully a part of the city guard, but you are well known enough to them and figured to be good enough with a blade that you are often kind of given people's shifts when they don't want to take them for some extra coin and so on and so forth. But this hasn't really kept you going much in especially in recent months, and you've started to inquire about working with the people who are known through most of Thistlehold as the Agency. The Agency, also known as the Treasure Hunters Guild, also known as the Fortune Hunters Guild, also, and perhaps more informally, I suppose, known as Mother Mahira's Agency. You've been talking to a few of them off and on over the last few months, and they're considering bringing you on to kind of do odd jobs, maybe with an eye to eventually them, paying out the cash for you for a license to go on the longer expeditions into nearby Davakar. But before that can happen, you have been told that you have to make your way to the Antiques Plaza, which is not too far away, and talk to a couple of representatives there who will be basically waiting for you outside the agency.
Okay, I will. What I'm doing right now is checking the map to see if there's a way I can get a quick drink in on the way up there. But I don't see any obvious cheap bars, so I'll sludge my way over to the Antiques Plaza.
I mean, Antiques Plaza will have, it's named quite well. It's a large marketplace that has a lot of stalls selling trinkets and goods from the ruins of Davokar, but it does also have, some food stalls, and some of those food stalls have alcohol of varying dependency.
Good. Post-work pint then, and I will look. I've been given a description of these people I'm going to be looking for.
You have not, but you were told that they'd be lurking outside, and you can't imagine there'd be that many people standing outside the agency in autumn when they could easily be inside by a fire.
Yep, I'll go and pick up a glass of yummy alcohol juice and then head over to the agency.
Wonderful. You stop by a stall, throw down a couple of very small coins, too small to bother removing them off your character sheet, for what is effectively ale moonshine, and kind of knock that back in like a sack. And kind of knock that back, and then you round kind of a corner of a couple of stalls. The market itself is kind of calming down because the afternoon is winding to a close, but there's still plenty of people. It's still quite loud. You round kind of a corner of a stall, and outside the agency, a fairly grand-ish building, if this will hold, you see two individuals. One is probably the largest goblin you've ever seen. He stands probably maybe up to your chest, who's carrying a fairly large sword with lots of feathers trailing off the end of it, and the other is a fairly robust young red-headed woman. I don't even have to ask John. John knows.
Clearly you're colorblind.
Clearly. So as you approach the two, the goblin kind of nudges the woman who's leaning against the wall and takes a couple of steps towards you, kind of peers up at you and says, "You Steo."
I am, yeah. You Maria's man?
Yeah, I'm Erfons. This is Ephenea.
Nice to meet you. Gentle friends, how's it going?
It's all right.
As well as it can be in these times, I suppose.
Right, so if you're not part of the city guard, why should we take you?
I fought in the war like everyone else. Kind of gesture to the I'm carrying a halberd, by the way. It's probably about the same height as me, and it looks like it has a fair few pretty bloody dents in it. Can use one of these well enough. Done my time cell sorting, been up and down the road.
What do you think, Effie?
I mean, more hands are willing to make a job more successful, right? I mean, why not? He seems like, look, his halberd's pretty much the size of you. If he can wield it.
I can
try him. Go on, try him.
I'll ready
no
up.
Cuts.
Yeah, flats only, I get you. So I'll ready my halberd and kind of try and clear a bit of space using some of my city guard, sort of the city guard aura, if not rank, to kind of...
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Move along. Standard practice fight.
Okay, let's practice fight, folks.
Yeah.
All right.
So what's your what are both your quick scores?
My quick is 13.
Mine's 10.
Then Ephenea gets the first strike. So give me whatever your... I think, if I recall correctly, you roll strong. Is that right, Elle?
I do roll strong.
You roll strong.
Yes.
What's your defense, Chris?
I believe it's somewhere in the... It's 10.
It's 10, so that's flat. So you just need to hit your strong to hit him.
15.
There we go.
Miss. Oh, I'm good. I'm getting cocky. So
is it a miss? What is your strong?
Oh no, you have.
Oh, 15.
Okay.
Then yeah, you hit.
Okay.
So kind of steer, you kind of ready yourself and spin round slightly as Aeneas steps in with one big. It's a double-handed axe?
Yeah, it's like a double axe. Yeah.
And kind of steps in under the guard of the halberd and thwacks you on the side of the head sharply with the flat of the axe. I take it you're going to reply to this.
Yep.
Okay, so roll whatever. I think you are an accurate, right? You are an accurate roller for melee.
Yes,
if you don't have an ability that changes it, then it will be accurate.
Okay.
What's your defense, Elle?
It is 9.
Okay. So that's it. So add 1 onto your accurate, please, Chris.
Add 1. So from 15, I go to 16.
Correct.
So I roll under 16 to win.
Or equal to.
Okay. 8. Yay!
Hey. Okay. You take advantage of the quite hefty swing that Elle has to make to make contact with you, being as you're holding off with a halberd, and you take the crack on the side of the head, but you use the kind of motion from that to step round to the side and kind of sweep hard at Aeneas' legs, and again the flat of the halberd smacks against the side of Aeneas' knee. Earthons gives out a slightly ugly coughing laugh and says, all right, good enough for me. You can get a hit in.
Yeah, I will, rise to my feet and, offer my hand and say, well met, Steele.
Same.
Handshakes for everyone. So you Earthons rises back up onto his feet. He was watching the duel with his sword. Seems to be far too large for him, resting over his knees. Stands up and says, right, well, first job already. Do you know the Witch and Familiar?
I do.
It is a tavern, a barbarian-run tavern by the West Gate, or inn rather than tavern. He says, "Well, we've got a few people going around the city tonight, talking to independent guides, people who take others out into Davakar or areas near Davakar in exchange for coin. You know the sort. Well, we're not really happy that these things aren't going through the agency. But at the same time, we're good people. We're not going to hurt anyone or intentionally put anyone out of business. Exactly.
Yeah.
You have to go talk to one of them. Tell them
Perfect.
that any clients they take, we're blacklisting them.
Shake down, run. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, ugly words, but yes.
I'm not a pretty person.
So the idea is we're not going to rough them up. They can keep working, but if any clients want them after we blacklist them, they're welcome to them.
I got you. We'll put the thumb screws on, but not do any damage.
That's right. So this one, they're called Ascarai. They're at the Witch and Familiar at the moment, staying there. They came in last night.
Ascarai.
Mask, robe, or cloak. They'll be in there. You'll see them. They never take the bloody mask off. All right. Then.
Okay, we'll get it done. When do I meet you?
Go now. They're there now.
Okay, let's go. You ready, Efrenia?
Always.
Cool, it's 10 minutes. Let's go.
All right, on it.
Earthons walks off back into the agency, looking in the sky, muttering something about rain.
He's grumpy, but he's got a good heart, I think.
Yeah. There's always something a bit sketchy about everyone in that agency, but the money's good and the work's interesting. You barbarian stock.
I am. I am actually, I'm, from Clan Odaiova, so I'm kind of, I don't hate the Ambrians as much as some of my other clans, but
I'm not paid enough to maintain political opinions, but glad to have you around anyway.
yeah, I mean, it's rather someone from my clan than from one of the more hostile ones.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have said, wouldn't have been able to get a hello in.
You been to Thistlehold before?
I've lived here for the past year or so. So yeah, I mean, it's, typical story, dead mum, injured dad, help family. What can you do?
Same as everyone around here. Very few living parents these days.
Exactly, typical orphan life. So, I do what I can, keep upbeat, and the Fortune Hunters Guild gives me the money that I need. I just have to put up with some grumpy goblin assholes every now and then.
I think we need to get a hashtag orphan life going.
Hashtag orphan life.
Okay, it does not take you long to walk to the Witchen Familiar, just outside the west, or well, just inside the West Gate. You're both fairly familiar with it. It's a very popular inn, especially with outsiders. It's a huge 3-story building with dark timber walls that's maintained inside essentially as a kind of 3-story barbarian camp, because that's more or less what it is. It's run by a huge barbarian man called Alamar and his mother, who rumor has it is a witch. When you get there and kind of walk inside, I mean, you've seen the surroundings before, but how about I describe them to you, being as you don't know what I mean. The first 2 stories of it are dressed out in kind of lush emerald green vegetation with moss covering a lot of the ground and running up the walls. There's no furniture there. Everyone is expected to sit if they're seating. If they're renting a room, there are just sort of hides, bedded pelts laid out. The only kind of furnishings there are around is the walls are covered in trophies of various kinds, mostly kind of hunting trophies. And there's also kind of stuffed animals just almost ramshackly popped around the place. Exactly like that, Chris, yes. Terrifying animals like that, with their heads kind of poking out of the vegetation, growing out of places. As you come in, you're kind of assailed with the smell of slow roasted meat. There are a few people kind of scattered around, a lot of barbarians, but also out-of-towners. And you think that you can kind of see Alamar through a doorway, tending to this very large chunk of meat that's very slowly rotating over an open fire. Sat on their own, bundled up against one wall, cloaked, masked, is unmistakably Ascarai. I mean, maybe it's not, but
probably is.
There's no one else that matches that description here. There we go. Also, I should point out, and you know what? Let's do it anyway. Sat over in another corner, looking a bit uncomfortable, particularly one of them, is some kind of priest of Prios, sat with a man with a bundled, long, dark cloak and kind of a tall, dark hat that's kind of down low over his features. There he is.
Ooh, costume goals.
So,
Spooky.
I assume you're going over to talk to the.
I am going to quickly get myself a handful of meat of cheap meat. I'm also going to just verify if I recognize the priest in the corner as Antom, or do you want me to make a roll?
You absolutely do recognize it as the priest. You let through the gates about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood for acknowledging him, but just so I have clocked it. So I'll grab some meat and head over to the Aseries table. or not table, Asari zone.
Yeah, just
Ascarai.
area of moss would be the best place to the best way to describe it. But yes.
I'll kind of on the way over. I'll kind of side to Efrenia and go like, "Do you want to take this one, or do you want to let me do it?"
I mean, I prefer to solve things by hitting them.
Okay, I'll lead off. So I'll kind of come up to Ascarai and say, Ascarai the guide, is it?
That's me. You need to pass through Davaka.
We've come from the agency. Regret to inform you, we got a bit of a warning for you, I'm afraid.
I'm standing menacingly.
Not a physical warning, but a financial one at least. You see, you're muscling in on obviously our income stream, and while any fewer number of dead bodies lost in that forest is good, it's taking money out of the coffers. So the ultimatum is that you can continue doing your work, but anyone you work with isn't going to be able to work with the agency afterwards.
I don't understand why anyone works with the agency, to be honest.
At this point, I will just kind of step in and I'll be like, well, some of us have families to feed. Some of us have responsibilities and don't just swan around in their stupid masks and their stupid cloaks doing their stupid whatever it is they're doing. Stop taking my money.
Well, if you're looking for money, I think the agency is possibly not your best bet. No one pays a corpse.
Steel, help me here.
Giving it some thought. So, are you on to something? You got some ruins?
There's plenty of ruins in Dabaka. I don't have much
ruins.
interest in any of them. I just have interest in the people who want to go there.
Okay, so you're not running anything. Well, what's said is said. And look, no hard feelings between me and you. I'm sure I've seen you around. I know troublemakers, and you're not one of them specifically. But, yeah, this is the least violent shakedown you're going to get from the agency.
Fair enough. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If people want to work with me still, I'm still going to take them.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It's fine as far as I'm concerned. I'm not getting paid enough to track your movements.
And on that note, sorry, people may have noticed me coughing wildly there. I managed to, when you drink and it goes down your airway. I did that with fresh orange juice. It's pretty. This is an adult stream, folks. It's pretty fucking painful.
Jesus.
So, over in the other corner, we have Anton. Now, Anton, you may be wondering why you're talking to this big, intimidating-looking fellow. Well, first of all, that fellow's name is Baumello. He is a witch hunter, otherwise known as a black cloak. And he essentially, when you arrived at the Church of Prios, you find out that there was only one room available there currently because there's quite a lot of people accommodated there for various things. So Keller suggested he take that room. And you were also assigned the job of going to talk to Baumello, a fairly notorious witch hunter in these parts, and kind of try and not rein him in at all, but certainly bring him more into the fold, because he's it's not like he's a loose cannon. He hasn't done anything the church has broadly disagreed with, but neither does he bother to tell the local church anything about what he's about to do. So while they broadly approve of some of his recent actions, some of them got a bit of notoriety, and perhaps the church should have known about beforehand as much as possible. And that's essentially it.
Okay.
He greeted you fairly genially. He seems stern and somewhat gruff, but not unkind. And you've essentially just settled in with some drinks. And he kind of takes a swig from whatever very potent smelling ale they're serving here, and kind of gestures to the surroundings and say, "Witch and familiar. That's someone in the church's idea of a joke."
I'm keen to learn more about this place. I've heard more about Thistlehold as we've got closer to the town on our travels, and now I'm here. It's everything I thought it would be, and not in a good way.
Thistlehold is a place you have to get used to if you're from more comfortable areas in the south.
I think I have some learning to do. I need to learn a bit more about this place. Say, you hungry? I could grab you some food, some meat, get you some more ale.
He shrugs and says, "Witch hunting is hungry and thirsty work."
Gonna go up and grab him some meat and refill his ale, and maybe take a drink for myself as well, and try to get on his good side in that way, and maybe loosen his tongue a little bit with some more drink.
When you kind of go over the very kind of large barbarian man who's got kind of long braided mustaches and like long ginger hair that's thinning all along the top, kind of takes your order and passes you. There's no bar, there's nothing like that. He literally just gets the goods from inside the kind of kitchen room that he's got them there and just passes them over to you, and kind of takes your money and nods and says, "Thank you, good father." Is it father? I never know with you sun worshippers.
Give him a wry smile and just say,
it was clearly meant in a friendly way.
Yeah, father is fine. Thank you, sir. I'll take that stuff and I'll go and sit back next to my new friend. And here you are. So you were saying the Witch and Familiar. Is this a place of some repute in Thistlehold?
I suppose so. Barbarian run and all that.
Yeah, I guessed as much. And tell me a little bit about what you do in Thistlehold. And
I am a busy man. And Tom, does the church want to pay me or put a leash on me?
I'm not here to do either of those things. I'm here as a student to learn more about this outpost town and to ensure that things go smoothly for everyone. And you seem like a reasonable chap, and I hope that I can find a productive relationship in this town and with your fine self.
Well, I suppose I'll drink to that. Although I think your superiors have perhaps more intentions on my work. He kind of holds up his tankard to, even in the world of Symbaroum, you still do the cheers. That's a constant. As your tankards clink, and you all hear this very clearly, there is a yelping and a strange noise coming from upstairs, and you hear a voice from up there rather desperately going, "Help! Help us! Somebody!"
I am quite naive and kind of do-goody, I'd say, so I'm just kind of like immediately, like, at first I just thought it was possibly someone boning, but then the help me
Sure.
I didn't hear a safe word, so I'm rushing upstairs.
Yeah. Okay. Balmello is also leaping to his feet, and his hand is kind of reaching into this voluminous cloak of his and brings out kind of a like a hand axe, and he's moving towards the stairway. Most other people, because there's quite a few people, are kind of like just looking up. A couple of them are literally just going straight back to their drinks. And the owner of the inn is kind of leaning out of the kitchen going, is everything all right up there?
I'm going to follow Balmello up there, but definitely sticking like well behind him. And yeah, do I have like, I would guess that I have my weapon on me at this point?
Yeah, no one will have taken your weapon off you at any point.
Yeah, okay. Well,
yeah,
I'll have it in my hand, my flail in my hand, but I won't be intending to use it if I can help it.
Excellent. Theo, Ascarai.
So kind of, I'll go to Ascarai and go, 3 kinds of people in a situation like this: the ones who go first, the ones who go second, and the ones who don't go. Which one are you?
I just want to see how this witch hunter fights.
Maybe you're not all bad. Let's go.
Thank God for that. So we're not going up at all. Good stream, guys. Good stream. Okay, so it sounds like Ephanea is the first up the stairs. As I say, the second story is also kitted out in the same way: vegetation, trophies, kind of moss along the floors and up the walls. And as you kind of burst out into the upstairs section, while downstairs is mostly one large room for kind of the central inn, upstairs is rooms. And you kind of come up into a long central corridor with rooms off to each side. Ahead of you, you can see, like I say, like it is otherwise, trophies and moss and vegetation, and you kind of start. You can hear there's still like a whimpering and shouting coming from a room most of the way up the corridor, off to the left, and you kind of take a step forward, and 3 of what you thought were stuffed animal trophies wheel round and snarl at you. For a second, you believe that they are trophies come to life. But no, there are 3 jackal-like wolfen creatures in the corridor that are wheeling round, snarling, and they look like they're definitely thinking of coming for you.
All right. Well, I will immediately ready my I'll just call it my battle axe. And I'm feeling pretty confident. Like, I've hunted most of my life, so I'm ready to take these on.
Sure. So everyone else is kind of coming up the stairs behind this now. Balmello is kind of stops at the top of the stairs for a moment and makes a noise, and then starts stalking forward with his axe in hand. And the others similarly come up. Can I assume that everyone is kind of drawing their weapons and readying to be attacked by, in the middle of this city, bizarrely, some weird jackal-like creatures?
Yes.
Just before I decide which weapon to go in with, is this a place where I'll be able to get a swing in with a halberd, or will I want to go for daggers?
I mean, you could possibly try and thrust through the people at the front with the halberd, but it could also be quite unwieldy.
Okay, so I'll kind of prop the halberd and ready the dagger in this situation.
Sure.
Is there going to be room for a shot with a bow?
There would be, if it were not for the fact that you are at you and Steo are at the back of this group.
Okay.
So I would say probably not, or I'll make it very difficult. And if you miss, you'll hit someone. So it's up to you.
No.
Okay. Can everyone? I'll tell you what. If everyone shouts out their quick initiative, and you know what? I didn't think about this before, but I guess John can do things like initiative shuffling, and then just maybe pop them in order in our private chat here. So if people could shout out, Steo, what is your quick, please?
10.
Ephanea.
13.
And Tom.
7.
Nice. Askarai.
15. It's my vigilant, but I have the ability to use vigilant.
Sure.
God
The
damn
beasts have a quickness of 15. And Balmello, I'll just handle him narratively. So I'll just throw him in at the end of every round. I've just thrust this on John, so John might be horribly scrambling to do this now.
Hello,
John.
That's totally fine. But Askarai and the beasts, what are your relevant vigilant scores?
Well, my vigilant is what I'm using for initiative, so Arthur.
The beast is 10, so he wins out.
Okay. I'll be back in a moment.
Thank you. John will type those in our private chat here, which, before we started the stream today, Sam came up with a name for our little private chat here. Sam, while John does his good work, would you like to enlighten the good people watching what our private chat is now called?
The Symbaroum, of course. What else could it possibly be cool?
Yeah.
I'm immediately clicking to comments. Wonderful, thank you, John. So, Askarai, you go first, or you can go first or delay your action.
I think
Might not be a bad idea to delay, actually, because you're behind the others. So
that's true. If I'm going to struggle to get past people, then I'll only be in the way of people again.
I definitely ask you to make some kind of roll to get past the others with that kind of successfully. You could still do it. You could still probably move forward and then attack. But you definitely have to make a roll to succeed at it. Whereas perhaps if you wait, an opportunity might come to you. But it's up to you.
I think I hang back. I want to see what the witch hunter does in any case.
Okay, sure. So the beasts are moving forward. One of them is going to take kind of a double movement to weave around the two at the front and dash towards the three of you at the back, because kind of only two of you can really stand abreast in this corridor. So they will do that, albeit that means they'll get free attacked. So let's do that first. Let's deal with a free attack first. Elle, do you want to make a free attack on one of these guys? So that will be your attack roll.
D12.
Yeah, although you will have a -5 to hit.
Okay, cool. Just give me 1 sec.
Yeah, the defense is -5. Pretty potent.
So is it like a D12 -5? Sorry, or am I rolling to hit?
Not a D12. It'll be, you still have to roll to hit a free attack.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So -5.
Yeah. So you're strong with -5. So you're rolling against 10, right?
Yeah. 15.
Okay. Your axe kind of whistles over the creature's head as it bounds past you, yelping slightly, and looking quite hungrily at the priest in front of it. But it doesn't get. It's used both its actions as movement, so it doesn't get to attack. One of them is kind of bounding up at Balmello, who's kind of fending it off with his axe, and the other one is going to leap up at Ephanea. So could you roll your defense, please, at a -3?
Oh, yikes.
Are you going berserk or anything?
I am not.
You have that fun berserker thing. They don't look all that fearsome. Perhaps you don't have to go berserk in this time.
No, I'm not. I'm pretty confident because they're just jackals.
Yeah, sure.
So confident, in fact, that I don't defend myself properly.
That's fine. Okay, give me an armor roll.
Okie doke. That is medium. All right, cool. Oh god, I'm looking at my character sheet and confused as to what armor rolls are because this is terrible.
It should just be. It should just have one dice listed. What is your armor?
Crow armor. Sorry.
Crow armor.
Yeah.
What did you buy the cheap? Did you buy crow armor intentionally?
Yes, I bought crow armor
It was
intentionally.
cheap. Yeah.
Yes.
That's 1d6.
Cool. 6.
Great. Your for the uninitiated, crow armor is essentially a kind of patchwork armor, hence it being very cheap. But it's also fairly inflexible, kind of bits of steel and iron and chainmail all rigged together. So that's at least partly why Elle's defense is pretty bad, because she can't move all that fast. However, the advantage it gives is a bit of extra protection than light armor, and the jackal creature kind of leaps and tries to kind of savage your arm, but is instead just kind of hanging off it with one kind of riveted iron plate kind of dangling there, and it kind of snarling and desperately trying to worry it off in the mistaken belief that it's part of your arm. So no damage.
Haha. I knew there's a reason I took this armor.
Absolutely. You might not be saying that when you get hit by something far more powerful, but So, and it's your turn next. So I'm assuming you're going to try and kind of whack this thing off your wrist with
yeah, basically
with your large axe.
Somehow we're just gonna try and swipe at it.
Absolutely. So give me an attack roll from you, which is strong, I believe.
Yep.
At a -5 again.
At a -5. Right, come on, dice, please be good to me.
You'll have a movement action if you want to use any movement, but
no, I'm good where I am. I roll a 7, so there we go. I need to get 10 or less. So I've hit it.
So now we delve into the horrible abyss that is Elle's character's damage rolls. So you have 1 die for your weapon, correct?
Yep.
And you have 1 die for Iron Fist.
Yep.
And you would have 1 die for Berserker as well, but
I'm not gone Berserk.
So I think it's I know the Iron Fist is 1d4, right?
Yes, it's an extra 1d4 of damage.
What is your weapon? Your normal damage for your big two-handed axe?
So ordinarily it would have been a d10. However, I've taken the ability Two-Handed Force, which my character in the prologue had as well, and it means that any heavy weapons I roll a d12 instead.
Yeah.
So
you roll a d12 plus and a d4, which is insane. Although watch Elle roll Snake Eyes now.
Oh, it's going to be terrible. And I was positive I'd taken a d4 out my bag, but it turns out I hadn't. So I apologise to everyone for my lack of
the absolute worst dice in existence. Don't at me.
Yeah, it's pretty garbage.
Let's be honest.
All right, let's. Don't fail me now. It's going to fail me now. 6.
Okay. 6 is respectable.
Statistically unlikely. Fair play.
You basically heft the creature aloft with your arm, being as it's just dangling off anyway, and kind of because you can't quite get a swing on it because your weapon's quite clunky in one hand. So instead, you just kind of like reach back and smack it straight in the head with
naughty
with
wolf.
Bad. It's kind of it was 6 you rolled, wasn't it?
Yes.
It kind of goes cross-eyed for a second and then kind of drops back off your arm, snarling and spitting, and it's definitely got a large, horrible dink in its head now.
Not a good boy.
Wheels round again to have another snapping attack at you. 6. Yes. So next we have. By the way, Sam, anytime you want to interject and put your character in the order, do so.
Are there any that I could easily get to and hit at the moment, or not?
Yes,
really?
the one that's run through both of you, and is currently kind of looking like they want to menace the priest.
Okay. I'll
Theurg, we should say, rather than priest.
not being able to get a shot off, I'll try and dagger it, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Could you get a shot off now? I think you could get a shot off now because the priest isn't blocking it that much, and it's burst out from between the barbarian woman and the kind of the older gentleman with the witch hunter. Sorry, not Steo.
That is definitely better for me. So in that case, I'll try to shoot it.
Sure.
It gives a -5. Is that right?
Yes, it does give in.
Oh, you cut out for me there for a
Matt,
second.
you're muted.
I knew because I just clicked it. It does indeed have a.
Okay. I rolled a 10, which is what I needed.
So give me your damage roll, which I believe as well because you have marksman. It's a D10. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It's a D10.
Mm-hmm.
I got 5.
I'm really glad the guy with the tiny weapon is doing better than me.
You loose an arrow, and it doesn't quite hit it, but it essentially slices along the side of the creature, which gives out a pained, unpleasant howl, and basically seems to be trying to make up his mind whether to leap for you or the priest.
I begin knocking another arrow.
Topic. I think you're the most likely to roll for it, Sam. So let's have you make a free roll here. I don't think anyone in the group has beast law, but you spent quite a lot of time in Davakar. So let's have you make the roll. Could you give me a cunning roll, please? Just a flat out cunning roll. I think that's fine.
I rolled a 7 and I needed a 10, so I make it.
Okay. You're pretty sure these are jackars. They're small jackal-like wolves, but there's nothing kind of essentially supernatural about them or odd about them, and they definitely would not normally just randomly run into a city and run into an inn and run upstairs and then attack someone. So it's quite unusual. This is quite unusual. What's happening is quite unusual.
Okay.
So Anton, no, Steo.
Thanks.
Steo. Yes.
I'm going to take my movement action to specifically get between the priest and the nasty.
Sure.
And then I'm going to enter into melee with the nasty and do a damage.
Okay. Hopefully. So yeah, roll your attack at a -5.
So that's a need to be 10. I rolled a 1. Critical hit, double damage. Probably not in this game system.
Well, we're something to discuss at the end of this session. Actually, not that specifically, but the idea of kind of different rules modules that we might put in or not. But we'll talk about that later. Someone remind me if I forget. But yeah, that's a hit. So why don't you roll your damage for us?
Puny D4 because I'm attacking with my dagger for space concerns. 1.
You slice at it with your dagger, and you make contact, but unfortunately with the flat of the blade, which just swipes down its side to no avail.
Oh no.
Anton.
Hello.
Hi.
Priested to death.
I'm.
I should point out, because I know we've gone through the rules before, but because the Jackar is engaged with Steo, were you to use a movement roll to move around the back of it, you would have it flanked.
Okay.
Which means that you would, I believe, get +2 to your attack roll and +1d4 to damage.
I think I need that, so I'm going to do that.
Cool. Okay, so yeah, the town guard. You recognize him. The town guard from earlier has kind of barreled in front of you at this thing, this weird creature of the forest snapping at you, and you deftly scamper around the side of him, ready your flail, and swing away. So you'll need an attack roll, but it'll be a -3 because of your advantage. You get an extra.
So I'm just rolling my standard D.
It'll It'll be your accurate at -3. So -3 off your accurate, not your roll. Otherwise, that would be good.
Okay, so my accurate is 9. And I've rolled 13.
That's a big old flailing miss.
Yeah.
So you you swing and just go clear over the head of the thing. I mean, they didn't teach you how to fight jackals with a flail in preschool, so not entirely surprising. Let's go back round to the beginning of. No. Let's talk about what Balmello does. Balmello basically grabs the thing by the scruff of its neck, holds it up against the wall, and just slams his hand axe into the side of it, and pulls it out and drops the dead thing to the ground.
Nice.
Spicy friend.
So Balmello's Jackar is thoroughly taken care of. So next, we've got the beasts, because now that Askarai's dropped into the initiative order, we don't kind of change it around.
Stays there, right? Yeah.
So we've got 2 beasts here. One of them is going to leap again for Ephenea.
Is one of them still? No, I got rid of him, didn't I? Yeah. I was going to ask if one of them was still attached to me. But...
No, yeah, this is the one that was attached to you,
Yeah.
but he's not anymore. So if you could roll your defense at a -3, please, Elle.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Come on, lower than a 6. A 5.
Wow.
Go. So give us your hefty damage rolls, and hopefully this time the RNG lords won't screw you.
Yeah, I'd like that to not happen. D4, D12, come to me, D12.
So many dice, so few numbers. Come on.
Come on, just be good to me for once in my life.
I like that.
10.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
pretty decent. Yes, that is pretty decent. It kind of leaps at you, kind of going for your arm again, essentially. But this time, you basically know what to expect. You take not a sidestep, but kind of angle yourself back so it's leaping across you, and get enough room where you can just.
Nice.
Your axe isn't quite sharp enough to bisect it, but essentially it drops to the floor mostly in 2 halves, from kind of the front, as it just leapt straight into your axe. It flops a very small amount, and yeah, you're not sure how pleased Alamar is going to be about all this blood over his moss. But
I mean, you could always hire people from the Fortune Hunters Guild to clean it up.
clean the blood off moss crew. Yeah. Okay. And the one that's going for Steo. Steo, could you roll your defense, please, at a -3?
Yikes. 6. Yes, I do it. I rolled a 6. And
Nice. So it kind of snaps at you and tries to kind of worry your legs. But your arm is pretty solid, pretty durable. Are you wearing crow armor as well?
No, I'm on full medium.
You're on full medium armor. You're on just kind of like a kind of scale or chainmail or something like that. And it's it just gets nowhere basically. You can feel it trying to get its teeth in, but nah.
Doing a nom
or trying to. Did we leap? I think that was out of order. That attack should have taken place before Ephenea's turn, but it's fine. It all worked out. And it's Steo's. No, it's Askarai's turn now. That's where Askarai is in the turn order. So all that's left is the beast that is attacking Steo, that the priest is around the back of. And I'm going to say, because of how they've positioned themselves, you could quite easily try and fire an arrow rather than going with your dagger.
Then I will do that. I will shoot it again.
Okay, that's your shooty roll at a -5, please.
Okay. I miss.
Okay. One of your arrows buries itself into the mossy floor of the inn. Steo.
Well, target-rich environment. I'm going to hit him with my pointy stick.
That sounds good. Is this with your halberd or with your
I
daggers?
do have an action to change weapons. I can do that. Is there anything? I mean, okay, it's your job to figure out how this makes sense. It's my job to make the numbers line up. Yeah, okay, I'll switch over to the halberd and try and fend him off with the pointy end.
Okay, I think that works out. Let me just double check the player rules section for.
Oh wait, no! I'd have to disengage, so that would be my action.
I think you do have to disengage first.
Okay, small stabby friend, make the ouch.
Small stabby friend. Okay, so this is at a -5 again.
No chance, not even close. 16.
I mean, the thing is pretty fast, you know, and it's just kind of weaving around you. You're desperately trying to get back. With your choice of swear words. And Tom, are we flailing it up again?
Yeah, if there's a jackal right in front of me, then I will do a flail. And I literally mean I will flail at it and miss.
Yeah, just...
yeah.
So make your... that was terrible. Your attack roll, remember, is at -3 because you're flanking it.
Yeah, so I need to roll a 6 or under then. And I did not do it.
No, you are flailing both figuratively and literally. Let's make this straightforward. Baumello is going to turn around at the end of the initiative order and just kind of, with one hand, he kind of reaches back, and you think he's going to kind of go in and try and swipe at the thing, but he just, and the hand axe, and the creature is just kind of quivering on the floor for a second before it dies.
Nice.
There still sounds like there's some kind of horrible trouble going on in this room down the corridor. I see no reason to exit initiative order, only to work it out again. Is anyone doing anything but, girding themselves and dashing down the corridor towards this room?
I think
I'll switch weapons if you want to knock me down.
Sure.
Yeah, actually, fine. I'll go along with everything. Just keep it simple. Yeah.
You don't have to keep it simple, mate. You do what you want, mate.
GM's not really rewarding you, mate.
I think what I was trying to what I was thinking about is, like, having seen that everyone else is much more well equipped to deal with this stuff, I will hang to the back and let Ascarai go in front of me for sure, because I don't want to get in the way.
Seems handy with a bow. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shuffle that initiative around a wee bit then. John, could you repop it in there with Ascarai after Ephanea? And everyone, no, it's the same apart from Ascarai's after Ephanea. But also, can you, drawing a weapon is a movement action. Not sure about putting one away. I'd say it's the same thing. We've got another 15 there. Actually, no, it's exactly the same, only Ascarai is after Ephanea. We also need a bit for beasts. Thank you. So everyone dashes down that corridor. There is now kind of a horrible howling coming from down there. Everyone rounds the corner to the room approximately at the same time. It's a fairly kind of a medium-sized room, whatever size that entails. It's one of the inn's rooms where people hire out to sleep in, occasionally to live in. And essentially, there is one more of the Jakar creatures quite near the door and kind of snapping and snarling towards the main fight, where there are two men who look like barbarians who are fending off a much larger creature, kind of a very large wolf with kind of hackles raised and very large fangs that's slavering all over the mossy floor as it kind of makes dashes forwards and snaps at them. One of the brothers is kind of leaning over against the wall with a large wound in their chest. I mean, I did. That was a bit of a spoiler. They look like brothers.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I was like, this is information.
They look very similar to each other. They both have kind of brown hair and very similar beards, but also they definitely look like they are related in some way.
Right.
Can I roll to see if I know what this larger creature is? Is it just a big wolf?
You can. I'm going to put a little bit of a penalty on it. Let's put it at a -2.
Okay. Not too likely. I failed by 1.
Then no, it just looks like a big old wolf to you. Big old wolf. So it's the beasts first, and the jackar is going to leap straight at the first person it sees coming into the room, which is Ephenea.
True.
You're getting all the jackal attention.
I am, aren't I?
So give me a defense roll at
Minus-
was it a -3? -3.
-5, I think it was. Last
-3.
-3.
It's
That's even
your
better.
attacks are at -5. Your defense is at -3
Yes.
against these particular things.
Doo-doo-doo. Come on. Nope, 1 over. Failed.
Give me an armor roll then, please.
Yeah. Come on, D6. Give me a good roll. Piece of head. 5.
Okay. As soon as you come in the room, it leaps up at you and scrabbles at you, and its claws and its teeth screech off your crow armor, but do no harm to you. And then it kind of drops and starts pacing backwards and forwards in front of you, anticipating an attack.
I just think he's a good boy trying to play, like it's all his play.
Absolutely. The very large wolf, on the other hand, seeing that the barbarians are kind of like they're basically cowed. They're just desperately trying to hold it off. And clearly it sees you entering the room as a bit more of a threat. So it's going to go for the next first one in of you, which I'm going to say is Askarai.
Uh-oh.
Because Steo and Anton was intentionally holding back, and Steo was swapping weapons. So, and that's the initiative order as well. So let's say that. So this beast is kind of going to round on you and dash towards you deceptively quickly. Could you make me a defense roll at a minus? Is that? Oh no, actually, just a standard defense.
Okay.
Standard defense.
I failed by 1.
Hey, could you roll your armor, please?
Okay. I don't have great armor. I got a 4, which is...
Okay. The wolf kind of barrels into you, and you just see it coming quickly enough to kind of dodge slightly to one side and whip your cloak out. And it kind of barrels through the cloak and spins round, snarling, ready for another charge. But you manage to... You do get hit by it, kind of knocked aside, but it doesn't do you any harm.
Okay.
So we have next Ephenea.
Woo! So what am I closer to now? Big wolf or
Definitely the Jakar, the little Jakar that's kind of basically you've come into this room. You're on the kind of the left of the door, fending off the Jakar. Askarai is on the right of the door, fending off the wolf, and Steo and Antom and Baumello are kind of stood in the door at this point, so they could go in either direction.
Okay, I will deal with the Jakar first, or try to anyway. So yeah, I'm gonna roll a hit. With my big old axe.
Big old axe.
2. So I definitely hit.
Right. Can you roll for damage, please?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
You
Right,
definitely
let's
can.
see. Oh yes. Why must you betray me like this?
Oh.
6.
6. Okay.
Well, I mean, like, I rolled my d12 and got 2, so I was like...
Sure. Yeah. So you, as it kind of comes in for another attack on you, you manage to thwack it hard with the haft of the axe and knock it backwards. You haven't downed it, but it definitely is feeling thoroughly what you just did to it.
Nice.
So, Ascarai.
Well, I'm guessing since I'm in melee, I can't shoot it, but also I'll have my bow out. So
Yeah.
I'll need to change to my dagger. But
yeah, you can change to your dagger, or you could try and disengage, which would get it a free attack on you.
Do I have to disengage to change to my dagger? Or
No.
not?
No.
Okay.
I'd say you could just drop your bow, and I'd say that's a fairly free action. I'd say swapping to your dagger is your kind of movement action. Is what I'd
Okay,
say.
I'll just check my bow to somewhere that looks like it's not going to get immediately trampled, and pull my dagger out and lunge at this thing.
Okay. Can you make an attack roll, please, at a -5? So same as the Jakars.
Okay.
And I take it this will be your accurate as well, not your vigilant. Yeah.
I just miss.
Probably your dump stat because you don't need it. For...
It's not too bad, but it's definitely not as good.
Okay. You basically, as you're dodging to one side with your little cloak trick, you've swept out with your dagger, but hit nothing but air. Steo.
Okay, I'm going to attempt to flank the large enemy and have a go at him from there, committing to being inside the room entirely at this stage.
You can absolutely do that. You can strike with your halberd. There's plenty of room here. If you're flanking, you can definitely strike with your halberd.
Yeah.
You take a couple of paces forward is all you need, and kind of wheel around. You're now kind of positioned between the barbarians and the wolf as well.
Yep.
And you can make a flanking attack, so that will be at a -3.
So 15, 12 or under. Oh, no, not at all. 17.
Oh, you basically are thrown off by having to run around and try and get behind the thing, and your halberd just kind of glides through the air where it was a moment ago. Anton.
I think I'm gonna roll for my mystical power to kind of armor myself, my blessed shield mystical power. Assuming that there's not one right on me at that very moment.
There isn't. You're in a perfectly fine position.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that then.
So is that a resolute roll?
A roll against resolute, and my resolute is 13. So just give me a second.
What happens if mystic powers just don't go off? Do they just not go off?
Well, let's find out, because I just rolled an 18.
I think it just doesn't happen. Here's the question, though: do you still get the temporary corruption?
Don't know.
Isn't there? Well, tell you what, Mike, you've got a core book there, haven't you? If you pop to the end of the... Oh, no, actually, it's in the GM section, so maybe I should have a look.
Don't you have staff for this kind of thing?
Yeah.
You have staff for this kind of thing. John, can you have a look?
John.
Can you have a look and see if when you get temporary corruption for using a mystical power, whether you still get it if it flubs, essentially. If it's not in the book, maybe you Googled it. But anyway, thank you, John. So we're on Baumello, who is going to basically take a couple of steps forward and take a swing with his hand axe, and it grazes the side of the large wolf, which whimpers and kind of rounds on him to kind of try and snap him away. But yes, that's it. That's the information. The barbarians, for their part, the one who's wounded is just kind of leant against the wall, cradling his the gash on his stomach, and the other one is kind of basically tending to him and kind of holding a sword out with one arm while trying to look at the wound with the other. No, with his eyes. Yes. So we're on to the beasts again. Let's go with the Jackar. So could you give me a defense roll, please, Elle?
I can indeed.
At a minus 3, please.
Uh-huh. Nope.
Nope.
Big nope.
So big old attack on you. Why don't you give me an armor roll, please?
Come on, I've been getting good. Please just keep good. Oh God. I got 2. Not keep good.
You got 2 on your armor roll, yeah? Okay. This one basically tries exactly the same trick as the last one to kind of latch onto your arm, but this time it's kind of needle-like teeth. You can feel them slide through gaps in the armor and just puncture your flesh. It's definitely not a deep wound, but it's painful. Just take 1 damage to your toughness, please.
Okie dokie. Cool.
So we've got the Hunger Wolf. I keep saying the names of things before. The wolf, the big wolf.
The hungry wolf. He's very hungry.
Hungry wolf. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what we've got.
One hungry boy.
Wheels round and is now going for Steo.
Oh God.
Who seems to consider a more a bigger threat. So, could you give me a defense roll, please? Just a flat defense roll.
I'm assuming it's not entering into combat with me because then I get the long bonus. I'm pretty sure we're past that at this stage.
Oh yeah, you're already engaged with it. It's just switching its target so that Ascarai is now flanking it.
Okay, so defense roll flat.
Yes.
No, failure.
Okay. Could you give me an armor roll, please?
5.
Okay. You feel its jaws clamp down on kind of your lower leg as you try and back away out of its range, and you can feel the pressure of its really very strong jaws pressing down on your calf. But before the armor gives way, it just kind of releases and leaps backwards.
Oh.
So no damage.
Thanks, friend.
Thanks, Wolf. Wolf.
But it's not hungry.
It's not hungry enough. Not
The
hungry
sated
enough.
wolf.
Yes. So Ephenea again.
Okay. So obviously I'm going to where is the big no, I'm still fighting.
You're still fighting the little jackal wolf, the Jackar.
I'm still gonna try and fight this Jackar. So yes, right. It's to hit -5, yeah? Cool. Let's try and get this. Yes! I hit it. Cool,
Give me your damage rolls, which hopefully will
damage
do
better than last time. I keep on misplacing my D12.
Someone in chat, Swam Nice, if I'm pronouncing that right, definitely thinks you do get temporary corruption regardless of if it succeeds or not. That seems right to me as well, but I don't know if it's listed in the book. Elle.
Yes.
Crappy damage again. Old crappy
I've
damage.
rolled a 2 on my D12 and a 3 on my D4. So
okay. Well, your axe definitely makes contact, and you leave a kind of deep, cleaving wound in one of its sides.
I'm glad I'm the tank.
It's definitely looking the worse for wear now. Well, yeah, that's classic tank. The tank doesn't deal damage.
True.
Although you definitely do deal damage. So
I'm glad I have the glass cannon.
Yay!
I think you're the only one dealing damage right now because I have missed everything.
Slowly chopping it to death. So
just slowly.
Let's just wait for the witch hunter to kill everything.
Yeah.
That's why I always have an empty in the party, because you can't.
You know how badly we roll.
So Ascarai, you are now flanking the wolf.
Okay, I'm gonna attempt to stab it in the back. In that case,
okay.
What is the modifier?
The modifier is a +2. So roll to hit +2. So you should increase your stat.
Okay. I actually hit.
Hey, there
It's
we
a
go.
miracle.
I like beefy damage. So, give us a damage roll on those daggers.
Is there a damage boost to flanking, or is it just the?
There is. Yeah, you have an extra D4. So,
Okay.
will that be 2 D4 for you because daggers are D4, right?
I think they're D6.
Are they?
That's what I've got written down.
I don't doubt you, but I am going to check it. Yeah, they are. Huh.
Okay, so D6, D4. I do 7 damage.
Nice. So you basically, as the thing wheels round to briefly grasp Steo's calf in its jaws, you basically weave kind of around its massive tail. That's not a particular threat, but it is in your way. Just kind of plunge your dagger deep, kind of just underneath its hip, and it gives out a kind of
Oh
and
no!
kicks backwards with one foot and wrenches itself away from you. How much damage did you do there? Sorry, 7? Did you
7,
say?
yeah.
7. That's 5. Oops, that's the wrong side. That doesn't help. Okay. Yeah, it's definitely limping fairly hard now. So you got it. You got it good. We chatted so much in the Symbaroum now that our initiative order has vanished. But it's Theo.
Okay, so we got this Yelpy, the large threat, but I kind of already jumped into the room to flank it, and so it's jumped away from me a little bit further now.
It's not kind of a way. You're still engaged with it, but you're not flanking it anymore because it's
okay.
You.
I'm going to once again doing my best to keep the barbarians behind me because they don't have any other defense. I'm going to move to flank it and make another attack.
I don't think you can move to flank it because it's engaged with you.
Oh no, fair play. Yes, exactly. Okay, have at it.
Okay, just a standard attack roll with no changes.
Oh, delightful. 3.
Nice. Give me that good old damage roll, please.
7 out of 8. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
7. Okay.
Nice.
It seems very concerned with the dagger that the independent guide just thrust into its hip, and it kind of turns to try and snap at him, to face him. And you see your opportunity there. You take a step back and kind of swivel your halberd so you can thrust with it with the sharpened spear at the tip of it, thrust into the side of its neck. It gives one last whimper and crashes to the ground with blood veritably fountaining out over the floor.
Kill confirmed.
The jackar gives out an odd whimpering noise and attempts to dash from the room. Is anyone going to try and get a free attack on it? Steo probably. Anyone with the wolf probably can't. But I'd say F&A or Anton can. So F&A, you can take one for a start because it's disengaging from you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, at a -5, like it usually would.
Usual. Yep.
Yep.
Nope. It's running too fast for me.
It's fucking off. Anton, would you like to take a free attack as it dashes past you?
Yeah, is it also at -5?
Yep. Normal attack at -5.
I suspect this is not going to be my first successful roll of the night. And it is not.
I like the idea of the priest as as the jackal is running past him, just with a flail, like.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Get that pesky critter. Okay, well, we didn't get a firm answer on that temporary corruption thing, but you know what? It doesn't actually matter because you're probably not going to cast anything else before the scene ends. and your corruption threshold certainly isn't 4, and you would have rolled a d4, so it doesn't really matter right now. But we'll get clarity on that, and if it's not clear in the rule book, then we'll house rule it. I think my house rule would be that if it flubs, you don't get corruption because you're not actually affecting nature. So how would you get the corruption? But we'll double check it later. Okay. The only sounds in the room now are obviously the heavy breathing of everyone recovering from this frenetic and strange bit of combat. And the barbarian leant against the wall who's kind of whimpering slightly under his breath. And the other barbarian who kind of turns around at you all and says, thank you.
Priest,
So I'll
plug that man up for God's sake. Have you no mercy?
And Tom, are you going to comply with the city guard's orders?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
go and tend
Give
to
me
them.
your medicus roll. I'm
Oi.
not sure what it is off the top of my head, but I'm sure you have it there.
Yeah, so it's 1d4, I think, or it's a d6 if I have a herbal cure, but I don't think I have one of those.
You don't have to roll for it. It's just a straight up healing do.
I test against cunning to heal 1d4 of a character's toughness. So I did not do that.
So do you get modifiers from their toughness, or just you?
So I guess what it means is I have to successfully roll against cunning to find out if I do it, which I didn't do, by the way. Of bloody course I didn't. But then if it's successful, then I roll 1d4 to see how much I heal them by.
Sure. The wound is so ragged, and clearly the wolf just bit into the guy, and it's not a horrible wound, but it looks like it's probably painful, and there's not much you can really do about it here.
Okay.
Is there a window in this room?
So what? Sorry?
A window.
No.
Okay.
So correct me if I'm wrong, there's still one of these lads running around, isn't there? One escaped.
It's now you can't even hear it anymore. It's just you basically heard it dash down the stairs, and everyone downstairs go whoa!
collectively as one.
But now you can hear people kind of talking downstairs. They're not shouting in dismay as one of them is rolling around going with a jackar in its neck or anything. So, yeah.
Well, fair play. Now
anyone who is probably at the back, everyone's in the room, aren't they now? Because Anton has kind of gone in. So, yeah, never mind. Yeah.
I'll say to the barbarian, how did these things get in?
Good question.
I've got no idea. They just dashed in through the door.
Dashed in through the door from a crowded establishment into a room in a slightly less crowded establishment. Okay. Maybe some dark arts I'm not aware of.
Ascarai, something odd is happening. You're the closest to the wolf's corpse. Something odd is happening to it.
Something's happening to this corpse.
Something odd is happening.
I'm assuming everyone kind of wheels round to have a look.
Yeah.
It's kind of shifting and blurring and flowing on the floor into a different shape. It's almost like your eyesight is blurring as you look at it. And then in a very short matter of time, there is no dead wolf on the floor, but instead what looks like a young woman maybe, wearing a kind of woolen robe with long kind of brownish hair. The witch hunter kind of bends over and turns her over a bit, and there's a kind of audible gasp from anyone in the room who would be shocked at the sight of perhaps their first elf. Elves have kind of quite flattened features, almost simplistic, with odd single color eyes, and their skin varies in color, but this one has kind of a greenish gray cast to its skin. It is carrying no weapon and wearing nothing but the woolen robe and a rusted iron bracelet over one arm.
Dark arts, told you.
What sorcery? You,
Yeah.
masked person. What is this?
But it certainly goes without saying, Ascarai, you know exactly what that is. Because you can do it. Yeah. Incidentally, I don't know if you have no reason to suspect Ascarai might know any mystic powers particularly.
I don't know. My only kind of reason I ask him is because he noticed the corpse and he's weird and wears a mask.
Sure.
No, it's
Either
fair.
him or the priest will know.
Although, and this isn't any contradiction at all, but just for people's information, wearing masks is actually quite common in Symbaroum.
Yeah.
Wish it
Although
was quite
people
common in
usually-
real life.
People usually although people do usually take them off sometimes, but like when they're hanging out in a tavern drinking.
So, would I think that this is a changeling that can change into a giant wolf, or an elf that has
No, that's an elf. Changelings do look a little bit different from elves because they kind of don't enter the elvish life cycle. Not that you know specifically that information, but what you know is the difference between an elf and a changeling.
And this is an elf.
That's an elf, yeah.
That is an elf. I don't know what it's doing in Thistlehold. I've never seen one outside the forest, and basically never in the forest.
Right, this is officially a job for someone who's officially a guard and not me, who's supposed to be drinking and strong-arming a mercenary. So I'm going to go and raise the alarm unless anyone objects.
As you say this, Alamar, whose name I, for the life of me, cannot remember, kind of pokes his head around the corner of the room and says, "Is everything?" Holy shit!
I promise you, 5 minutes ago, that was a wolf. I think it was not human. It was
Alamar kind of
human thing.
stands up straight, scratches his balding pate, and says, "Master Steo, should I call the guard?"
You better. Someone's going to want to know how that got in here. Also, could you get me a drink?
You can go down and get your own drink. I'll run and call them. He dashes off. Bamello is kind of on his haunches by the body and leaning over and paying very close attention to the iron bracelet.
Gonna go and speak to him and Bamello, what are you noticing? What do you see?
He takes kind of a what's like a stylus, for writing on little chalkboards or stones or what have you, and kind of reaches out and just taps it on the bracelet and says, "Iron Pact."
Yes.
It means nothing to me.
I'm pretending I'm smart. I have no idea what that means.
I think, you know what? I think everyone in the room, apart from Anton, would know what the Iron Pact is.
Oh, okay.
I'm
Iron
actually
Pact.
smart. I know what that means.
It is a rumored organization or force among elves and maybe others to keep people out of Davokar. You don't know much. It's kind of it's just whispered about in dark corners.
Shall address the barbarians. Have you been making powerful friends or worse, enemies?
They are looking very pale and kind of staring down at the bracelet.
Have you been taking people to Davokar?
The one who isn't wounded kind of shrugs and says, "Yes, but I mean, a lot of people go to Davokar. That one, we've seen him before. He goes to Davokar." Points at Ascarai.
Half the people in this town take people to Davokar. That's where the money comes from.
Did you
Why
have any
you?
the elves?
No, we don't have truck with elves.
Did you uncover anything? I mean, like you say.
They kind of glance at each other, and the one who's talking, the unwounded one, says, "Nothing more than usual. Some treasures. We came back from an expedition 2 months ago."
You've sold them already, I assume?
Of course.
What clan are you?
Don't see how that's any of your business.
Depends who your enemies are, doesn't it? Look, this is guard's work. I'm not on duty. I'll kind of slink off towards the door at this point.
I'm going to still kind of like have my eye on them, because yeah, I'm kind of mildly offended. So I'm just gonna be like, you can trust me. Varian. I'm not like these Ambrians. Come on, now. Tell me like what's gone on here that could make you victim to an elf attack, because clearly you found something.
Honestly, nothing of significance. I've held nothing of significance. I have passed on nothing of significance. Just standard gold and treasures, jewels.
Where did you take them from?
A tomb.
What tomb?
At that, Alamar. Christ, Alamar. Comes back into the room. He's accompanied, and this is walking past you, Steo. You recognize the man he comes in with. It is your best friend on the guard, the man who usually finds you shifts to work, a barbarian who you first met in the slums of Indaros called Dirac. He is a large man in late middle age with a black and white beard and hair, and he walks into the room, takes one look at the elf's body on the floor, and says, "Fucking piss and shit on me."
Yeah, you and me both. Not even getting paid for this.
Someone tell me something that makes sense of this.
You should have seen what it was like when we first saw it. Shapeshifter. Wolf. Size of 3 wolves. Never seen the like.
I'm lost. It was a wolf, and then it wasn't, and these guys have been to Davokar, but I don't know what's happening.
It's a perimeter. At best, this is a perimeter violation. But
I can tell you something. This place is cursed. These heathen lands need Prios's light.
Man, that lad with the hole in his chest needed Prius's light. Is he still with us?
Steo, take the good father downstairs and get more drinking in, will you?
Come on, Anton.
Before you do, he kind of holds... He's not forceful, but he kind of holds a very large hand kind of on Anton's chest and says, "Name?"
Anton.
"Where are you staying?" "Here."
Yeah.
You got nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And this is where you met Balmello, so it's pretty late now.
Yeah.
Right. Don't go anywhere. I'll talk to you in the morning. Steo, meet me here in the morning. Off you two go.
I'll bundle you downstairs with the promise of a drink and a plate of meat.
Balmello kind of tips his hat at Dirac and walks away behind you. Dirac kind of leans backwards out of the room and watches Balmello go all the way down the stairs. Right. You. He points at Ephenair. You're with the agency, aren't you?
I have been for a year or so now.
And this one here. Are you with the agency now?
No.
Why?
No.
I thought
Why
they
would-
had truck with changelings.
They do, but not with me.
Okay. Are either of you with the hunter?
No.
The guy with the hat? No.
The guy with the hat. Balmello.
I don't think he'd work with me regardless.
Probably not.
So
Do
I'm
you
talking
know him? Know of him?
Heard of him, but never had any dealings with him.
Well, do you know Animark, the village a day east of here? You do.
Yeah, rings a bell. I think
Well,
I've been there on a couple of errands.
He burned it down last month.
Well, I guess I'm not getting sent there anymore.
Trying to get at some blight spawn, the rumor is. You stay out of his path. Clear?
Absolutely, I quite like Thistlehold. I don't want it.
Consorting with people.
Mhm.
He points at the barbarians' names. The wounded one is just kind of moaning against the wall. The other one goes, I'm Ludo, and this is my brother Bellin. Shock that I didn't already give away, essentially. All right. Look, it's late at night. I'm half cut. And this is a mess. I need to go talk to my superiors. Everyone, you two, go wherever you sleep. The 2 barbarians, they stay here. I'll meet you all here in the morning. Is that clear?
As crystal.
Sure.
And we'll get to the bottom of this. Fucking piss on me. He walks out of the door and goes to go down the stairs.
I follow him on my way. If I can pick up my arrows, if they're not broken, I will do so.
Yeah, let's say... how many did you fire? Can you remember?
2.
2. Let's say one of them's still intact and recoverable. Let's go with that. The one you missed with. Okay. I take it you're kind of retreating down the stair. Are you basically doing as he suggested? Are you going to...
Yeah, I'm absolutely like this shit's too crazy for me. I am a simple blacksmith's daughter. I have no idea what's going on.
Just trying to make your way in the world.
Exactly. I'm young, I'm naive, I'm a bit of an idiot. I'm going to bed.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Probably heading to bed. Don't really want to be involved with this, but feel like it's probably too late since the guard seemed to know who I was.
Fair enough. Okay. Let's bring everyone back in, John. Is anyone doing anything other than going to wherever they're sleeping tonight and going to sleep?
No.
Would we be getting like so because obviously we did speak to Ascarai as instructed to do by the guild. Would we be receiving like monetary?
I mean, not now. It's late at night. You would be remunerated, but
okay.
Right
well, in that case, I'm going to bed.
Sure. Everyone goes to wherever they sleep and gets up in the morning. Let's. We don't have to remove other people, but Ascarai, you kind of where are you sleeping? Where do you
Probably
sleep?
somewhere very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
But like
you rent a room in the shittiest part of town, sort of thing.
Exactly.
I'll be the north part of town.
Okay.
You wake in the morning and make your way through the streets. They're fairly dead this early in the morning, and it's like a very overcast day as you wander down the street more or less on your own with kind of the beacon, the roar from the flame of the beacon audible over the street. John, why don't you give them the image that we haven't had yet? Yes, like that. That's you there. Why not? You wear a cloak. There we go. Is anyone doing anything when they get up other than lurking in the common room of the Witch and Familiar to wait for this guard Dirac?
Collecting payment?
Too early. You get paid on a fairly, like, if you wander into the agency at the same time your paymaster is there, that's when you get paid.
Okay. In that case, yeah, I'm just gonna mosey on down to the Witch and Familiar.
Sure. Anything else from anyone else?
I think maybe just kind of sitting with my eyes closed and sort of like murmuring in prayer.
Sure. when you open your eyes from your prayer, you see that Balmello has taken like a seat next to you. You didn't kind of hear him, but then you were quite intent on your prayers. So it's now kind of fairly light, and there are a few kind of just general customers around, although I guess the group of you are sat roughly proximate to each other. Let's say that obviously Anton and Balmello were there quite, I mean, you literally got up and went downstairs. Let's say that Ascarai was the next to arrive. Yeah.
How are you today, priest?
Sorry, I didn't hear that. The audio cut out for a second.
How are you today, priest?
I am coming to terms with this place a little bit more. Today has been a better start than yesterday. And how is yourself?
I'm doing all right, all things considered.
Good.
At this point, Steo walks in.
I'll note the group of the ones of these gentlemen and come and go to their area. Good morning, gentlemen. Good job last night, except it wasn't, because no job you don't get paid for is good.
Well, you saved my skin last night, Steo, so I have much to thank you for.
Well, that's my job.
May Prios bless you.
At this point, Ephanea walks in.
Morning.
There's the woman who turned two of those things into paste. That was good work.
Well, I mean, I've been hunting most of my life. I undo what my pappy taught me.
No, I like Pappy. Pappy was good, Elle.
Pappy.
Regret Pappy.
I only do what my pappy
Hashtag
taught
never
me.
regret Pappy. It's all
Never
good.
regret pappy. That's
Never
gonna be
regret Pappy.
fine.
Hashtag. Let's get it trending.
Free trader,
So-
thank you very much. You did pretty well yourself. That's towards Ascarai.
I think you two might be a little too capable for the Treasure Hunters Guild, honestly.
Whoever pays me.
About 10 minutes after you all arrive there, the door kind of bangs open and Dirac walks in. He peers round, kind of his eyes adjusting to the slight gloom, grunts and walks over to the table and kind of stands overlooking all of you and says, "Right then, so who wants to start telling me exactly what happened?"
Well,
we came here to talk to the mask guy, and then we heard whimpering and shrieking, and we went upstairs, and there was wolves, and so we fought the wolves, and then they turned into changeling. The big wolf turned into the changeling, and that's what happened.
Balmello softly says, "Elf."
Yeah, that. I don't know. They all look the same.
Jesus, Prios wept. So, yeah,
Jesus, the little-known cousin of Prios.
Yeah, three of the smaller ones and the big one that was clearly some dark magic elf. They hit hard. God knows how they got in. Didn't work out what they had to do with those barbarians either. They're not.
Alamar kind of comes over with a round of drinks, which he kind of passes out to everyone. Like soft, what they would call in medieval times small beer. So like mead, things like that. Things that aren't, you just drink because the water is fucking poison. And pass out to everyone and kind of gives everyone a breakfast, which here at the Witch and Familiar is kind of great, like porridge with berries and jams and stuff like that. And says, "Oh, I found how they got in. There was a window open. I have no idea how they climbed up there, but there were claw marks on the windowsill."
Well, that's how they got in the building. How'd they get in the town?
Dirac shrugs and says, if things want in, they'll get in. We've learned that much.
Well, it seems they're with the Iron Pact, so we don't know what. We wonder if barbarians have discovered something.
Iron Pact.
Yeah.
Someone's made some powerful enemies.
Where are they? They were the ones attacked, right? The brothers.
The brothers.
Yeah.
Where are they?
Stayed here,
You
didn't
told
they?
them to stay here, right?
Alamar goes, they left. Just before dawn.
Well, if they're not here, there'll be no more trouble.
Dirac closes his eyes and says, except the trouble between my boss's backhand and my face. And Steo, that means between my backhand and your face. Your ugly damn face.
Ugly damn face did a night's worth of free work for you.
I'm too busy to deal with this. Everyone on my watch is too busy to deal with this. We have funds, secondment funds. Well done. The 5 of you are part of the City Watch until this is sorted. You'll be paid, remunerated. Go find those fucking barbarians and bring them back here.
Yes. Sir.
Anything that pays, right, Ephania?
You know what where I'm coming from. 100%. Let's get down to business.
Okay. Then there'll be no more trouble from us to you if you bring them back. Clear?
Crystal.
Alive, preferably.
Yeah.
He turns round, just walks out the door without a backward glance.
Well, somebody woke up on the wrong side of the mat today.
No, that's his mat only has one side, and that's probably the best quarter of it. Right. Where do 2 barbarians go in a town like this after an event like that?
Alamar? Did they say where they were headed?
No. They seemed pretty keen on leaving in a hurry. I was surprised. One of them looked pretty badly torn up.
Right, well, let's get a move on. We got to check the exit points, see if they left the town. If they didn't leave the town, we got to start asking where they lodge.
We should start checking with people that can heal.
That as well?
Yeah.
We should do all this after breakfast.
Can't disagree.
Okay. Yeah, you sit around and you have your breakfast. Baumalo certainly seems like he's going to stick around, although he's not really saying much or contributing much of anything. I'm going to assume, but correct me if I'm wrong, Steo, that when you said points of exit, do you mean from the town?
Yeah.
Because the west gate is literally in sight of the entrance to the Witch and Familiar.
Yeah, and if needed, I'll make a contacts roll with the guard and kind of just do the rounds. And
I knew you would leap on that, Chris, immediately.
Yeah, I only do 2 things, and I managed to screw up exactly 50% of that. Okay.
So you've got a contacts roll. Is it a persuade roll?
It's persuade, yeah, which is a dump stat for me.
But I'll happily give you a +3 to this. Or
okay.
+3. Yeah.
That's even odds. 7, yay!
Hey.
So it was a 10.
Are people kind of grouping together or kind of going off on their own thing? Or given the fact that this is literally like a 30-second walk from the door of the Witch and Familiar, are people kind of wandering over with Steo to talk to the guards on the western gate?
I'm staying with Steo. He seems to have like a similar kind of mindset to me.
I'm going to be kind of beckoning everyone along. Like they're not getting money without doing work.
Yeah, at least for this gate, I'll go with Steo.
It's worth saying, by the way. Obviously, like there's an element of railroad to this. If you feel like any of your characters are like fuck this noise and like walk away from this, then say
I'll happily
so.
write you out.
I will find a way to railroad you again. It's fine. If you feel like your character, or at the very least, I don't know, if Anton goes to talk to his superiors or whatever you want to do, do shut up. Steo, you walk over to the guard on the western gate. He kind of nods at you. You've seen him a few times, and you go, "Steo, right?
How's it going? You got the exit ledger for the very early this morning. We're tracking 2 barbarians. Got themselves in a bit of trouble.
Brothers,
one with a hole in him.
Yeah. They left this morning.
What this direction? I imagine. Any idea where they're going?
They went out down the path about 50 yards. Then they turned off it south.
South. That's better than north.
Naught but farms and orchards down there. I don't know why they didn't just take the road.
Trying to hide themselves, I imagine. Which would be great if I wasn't in charge of trying to find the buggers. Thanks. I'll take a little. I'll kind of leave go out into the wilds and take a look down this at the area where they turned off and see if there's any obvious clues.
Is everyone going along with Steo, or are they doing anything else?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll follow Steo and Balmello.
Now, in kind of full daylight out the western gate, you can see the kind of spread of land around Thistlehold quite well. You can see how close, for example, the Forest of Davokar is to its northern walls, which is about 50 yards away, I think, is where Davokar starts. So it's, very close. And there's that whole dark mass on the horizon to the north of you. But out to the west, you can just see the plains rolling away, same to the south. You walk, as the guard said, about 50 yards down. And who among you is actively looking for signs of their passage? Because I can imagine that some of you are just kind of along for the ride, but some of you are.
I am, because I'm used to hunting and stuff, so I'm trying to be a tracker. I'm not doing it well, but I'm trying.
Sure.
I think I'd be the same, trying to check for tracks.
Sure. In that case, can you give me anyone who is actively looking for them? Can you give me a vigilant roll at +3?
Woo! Where am I at? Is this one?
So if Sam doesn't get this,
Yeah, I got it.
yeah.
I will see what mine is. Yes, I got it.
Okay. Sorry, who rolled and who didn't?
I rolled and failed exceptionally.
I rolled.
Didn't.
I rolled and failed.
No problem. Ephenea and Ascarai, at roughly the same time, you both spot tracks leading off the path to the south. They're pretty clear. They seem to have been trying. They weren't trying to cover their tracks. They were just They seem to have been traveling as fast as they can. There's kind of some underbrush around the road here, and you can see where it's all knocked aside. You're fairly sure you could track their route as long as they keep it up like this.
Nice.
Well, I think we found where they're heading roughly. I don't know what they could be aiming for or why they left through the west gate.
West gate then turns south. Okay. Guess we need to go and kit up for cross country. Can you track them, Ascarai?
I can try. It doesn't look like they're particularly hiding their tracks, but perhaps later on they'll be more careful. For now, I think we have something good to go on.
Balmello has kind of taken a fairly good-looking crossbow out from underneath his cloak and kind of is checking the sights of it and making sure a bolt is loaded, and says, "Time may be of the essence."
What makes you say that?
They have a number of hours on us, and they are traveling at speed. As the tracker here noted.
He's got a point. Plus, if we're heading south, it's not like we're going to get been murdered by the forest kin anyway. Shall we get a move on and see what happens?
See no reason not to.
Right, let me go and check out with the guards just so they know where we've gone. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, is there anything anyone else wants to do before the group heads south?
No. I don't think so.
So Steo dashes back and reports in, comes back, and then by the time you get back, Balmello is already kind of striding along the path. Well, not a path, their path for the south, and the five of you together strike out south in pursuit of the brothers. And we'll leave it there. That was great, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very
On the
much.
trail we blaze.
First episode with our main characters. I hope
Nobody
everyone
died.
went well. No one died. That's a plus. It's already
Nice.
got a massive edge on the last session, eh? Yeah, fantastic. At the end of these, we do a little bit of a Q&A session or a comment set. If you have any kind of particular comments, if you have any questions, pop them into the comments bit, and John will flash them up for us to deal with. Before we do that, I just want to talk about a format. We're going to a little format change we're going to be making going forwards, which is that Symbaroum comes with a lot of kind of extra little rules modules that you may or may not want to use. And what we'll be doing essentially is every week we'll be talking about an extra rules module at the beginning of the session, then playing our session as normal, and at the end of it, and everyone can write comments and opinions and stuff in the chat. And at the end of it, based both on the chat and on our own thoughts, the players as well as myself will be choosing whether to implement those rules modules going forward. So yeah, we thought that's a cool way to figure out which of them we want to use and which of them we don't. So that's pretty fun. John, is there anything you want to flag up from the chat? Any questions? Any big comments? Any flattery? Criticism?
No criticism, please.
Thank you for this stream. Yeah.
Oh,
Thank you for watching. Slime, thank you for watching.
we're famous.
Oh no, we're not famous yet. But there was that person who popped up in in chat saying that we needed to buy followers and become ultra famous.
There's that as well.
I mean, they sound pretty on the level. Like
It definitely wasn't a bot.
I'm definitely thinking about taking them up on
You tune in next week. We got like 10,000 viewers.
Nice.
5 followers? No, not us.
Yeah, all with names with lots of digits on the end of them. In sequence. Yeah. Did everyone in the group enjoy? Have a good time?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I really liked it.
So
My
what are
brain
our
was very
options?
foggy, but
Sorry, Chris.
Yeah, so are we going to think about maybe some critical mechanisms? Because that
One,
was...
I did check all the modules today, and one of them is a kind of critical and botch mechanism. I may, in fact, put that forward as the first one to talk about next week, because I'm definitely up for it. But we'll see how everyone feels about it. So we'll see if that is a thing. Do you have any thoughts on virtual tabletops like Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds? I certainly have my thoughts on them. I've used them in the past. Well, I've used Roll20 in the past, and I use Roll20 for some stuff currently. I'm not actually overly keen on them because while they do add clarity for things like combat, with maps and stuff like that, I have found they become a little bit of a crutch rather than a tool. And I find that because you tend to focus on the maps and the combat and stuff, it can feel like a long sequence of just staring at a map and playing what amounts to essentially a skirmish game rather than a role-playing game. But I realize that that's not everyone's opinion, and that's just my gut feeling on relatively small amount of use of them. If people really, really want us to do Roll20 or Fantasy Grounds, or if the players do or whatever, then I'm open to it. But at the moment, I don't have that much interest in it. And with something like Symbaroum, I feel like, though it is more combat orientated than a lot of the games I play, putting stuff on a map takes a little bit out of the horror and spookiness of it, I guess. But
yeah, I'd have hated to have in the prologue, in the ruins with the boars.
It wouldn't feel the same, would it?
Yeah,
I don't think it would.
We do sometimes play stuff that suits that type of thing, but generally we don't. And I think this one is one that doesn't particularly lend itself to that.
Yeah, I think obviously the theatre of the mind is wonky, but reliable at least. I legit enjoy this format of theatre of the mind more. So do I, Slime. So do I. What was it? There was another comment about the images, right? Yeah, the art.
The art.
Nice. All the art we show so far, we'll have some art next week that's actually by John, and he's excellent. But we all the art we've shown so far is from the Symbaroum system books, and is made by someone called either Martin Bergstrom or Martin Grip, depending on which edition you get. I believe he must have changed his professional name. He's also borderline impossible to find any information about online. Like, I don't know if he's like just a reclusive non-online guy or whatever, but he does almost a lot of the art for Free League, not just Symbaroum, but also the Alien system and Coriolis, and it's all gorgeous. It's great.
The book is just beautiful.
Yeah,
it's
so
great.
nice.
Great stuff. Remind me, the dice rolls for Symbaroum are usually D20, aiming to roll under a target value. That's correct. Equal to or under the target value. The only ones that aren't are damage and armor rolls, which can be various dice, but every ability roll is D20.
It's quite confusing actually for like D&D second and third ed veterans going, oh, it's +3 to the roll. You're like, yeah, +3, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, like I was saying earlier today, I was speaking to a friend about the system, and I was like, you get this kind of, oh god, I've rolled a what? Oh wait. Oh,
Yeah.
What's really weird about it though is because like it's flipped, but also the modifiers are flipped, which actually means like a -3 is still bad. But it's because you apply it to your stat.
Yeah.
Or because you're trying to roll low.
Yeah.
So it's
You apply it to what you're trying to roll against rather than your dice.
Plus is still good and a minus is still bad, even though you're rolling. Yeah, it's a bit weird if you're used to D&D, which I'm not particularly. But.
I think it's a little confusing, but I think this was our first session. It was already feeling fairly natural. Like
and it'll come to us more over time.
And so do we know if does anyone know of semi off topic question if the Tales from the Loop system also uses this inverse D20 thing?
No. As far as I'm aware, Symbaroum is the only Free League game that uses this D20 system, which I believe is because it was actually originally the property of a company called Yarnringen, which Free League then adopted when Yarnringen, I don't know if they went under or if they just got bought in by Free League or something like that. But no, I think all the other Free League games use their own proprietary D6 system, which is simply roll a handful of D6 and 6 are successes. And that's the same in Mutant Year Zero, Tales from the Loop, Coriolis, probably Vazen, the new one as well. Yeah, the rest use Year Zero engine, which is all D6, and it's a very nice engine. I really like that. We've played a bunch of Mutant Year Zero and Tales from the Loop. And
I'm going to go, and as soon as it's safe to go more than 20 foot away from my house, go down to our local roleplay shop and see if they have the Tales of the Loop book in. Which is very unlikely because it's.
I was able to order it online for fairly cheap. I think I got it for around about 30 to 40.
Yeah, if you go to Modifius, usually does the Free League stuff on order online, and they're.
I want to give these guys a run of business. It's an adorable little shop. They've got like just the only war game shop for like 120 kilometers in any direction.
Friendly local game store, support them, and all the rest of that stuff. So unless there's anything else from the chat, which I don't think there is because nothing has popped up for a while, thank you for watching, everyone. Really do appreciate it. We will be back next week for episode 2. When will I give that XP? By the way? That's a very valid question. What I'll probably do is, because I don't tally it, what I'll probably do is give it out between the sessions, and then they'll have an opportunity to spend their XP, and at the beginning of the next session, if they bought anything, which they won't after this one, they won't have enough, then they'll tell us at the beginning of the next session, if that's okay with everyone, because the XP is kind of based on different scenes and challenges, and I'd rather not tally it as I go along. I'd rather just do it between sessions, if that's okay with you. So thank you to the players who've been wonderful as always. Thank you to John, who's been spectacular as always. He says always 2 times in a row. Thank you to Chris's little friend there, who's been invaluable and has contributed the most in many ways. And we'll see you hopefully next Wednesday at 8 o'clock or thereabouts for more Symbaroum. Thanks, everybody. Goodbye.
Boy.
Bye, guys.